Hi everyone, welcome to my mid-year reading check-in and my first ever YouTube video. So far this year I have read 28 books. I do have a reading goal of 50 books by the end of 2026. So I feel like I'm at a very strong point. I'm definitely a little bit further than halfway. In this video, I'm going to be answering some questions about the books that I've read so far this year. And I'm also going to be going through each book that I've read this year and what I rated them as well. So without further ado, let's get on with this video and let's answer some questions. The first question is, what is the best book that you've read so far this year? Really hard question because I have had a few 5-star reads this year. The first thriller book that comes to my head is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. That book, hands down, was the best thriller that I've read so far this year. There were no flaws in that book. I'm very harsh when it comes to rating any book that I read, so the fact that I gave that thriller book a 5 stars means that it's very good to me. I'm not going to go too much into the storyline, but there were more than one plot twist. I was misled throughout the whole book. I did not expect the plot twist, the main plot twist, to be what it was, which is what I love. I love doing that in a thriller book. I love it when I have no idea what is going to happen. Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham was the best book that I've read so far this year in the thriller category. In the fantasy category, I did start the Throne of Glass series this year and I'm currently reading Kingdom of Ash. It's between the Assassin's Blade and Crown of Midnight from the Throne of Glass series. Those two books in particular I loved. I was giving 4 or 5 stars throughout the whole series. I had literal goosebumps whilst reading these two books. I gave Crown of Midnight 5 stars because we found out Selena's real identity, which was one thing, and then I really loved Kale or Cal, I don't know how you say his name. I loved their romance, I loved their love story. I think it was so cute. I actually did start the series with Assassin's Blade. Some people say start with Throne of Glass, others say start with Assassin's Blade. I started with Assassin's Blade and I have no regrets. I loved that book. I know it's not book, it's books that I've read, but those two books were the best books I have read so far this year in the fantasy category. The next question is, what were your solid 4-star reads this year? I have so many. The first 4-star read that I read this year was Quicksilver by Callie Hart, which is a fantasy book, and I believe it's the first one in a 2-part series. I haven't read Brimstone yet. I am planning to. I just hate it when the first book is a paperback and then the second book is a hardcover and there's no paperbacks. I don't like it when it's mismatch on my shelf. I want both of them to be paperbacks so they match on my shelf. So I'm kind of waiting for Brimstone to be a paperback, but I don't think it will. But I'm gonna keep waiting. Quicksilver was a 4 stars. It took me a little while to get into the actual book. I was pushing it off for a while. Just slowly reading a few pages here and there. But then when I got into it, I was locked in. I did not put that book down. Damn, it says I started it in 2025 and then it says that I started it in September 2025 and I finished it at the end of March 2026. So I did really just put it away and just didn't read it for a long time. I did enjoy the storyline. I have heard that Brimstone isn't as good as Quicksilver, but I still want to read it. The one character that stood out to me and made me giggle so much was Carrie Swift in this book. And the person that I was thinking of, because you know when you match them to real life actors or characters, the first person that came into my head when I was reading about Carrie was Andy from The Office. I have... This is the most accurate representation that I can think of when I'm thinking about Carrie's character because they're both so funny. He definitely carried the plot and the book. I think he was definitely a good addition into the storyline. We'll have to see how Brimstone is. Hopefully it meets my expectations. So the next book that I gave a 4-star rating to was Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I have so many things to say about this series, so I'm gonna try and condense as much as I can. I just did not expect myself to fall in love with this series as much as I did. I found Fourth Wing to be so boring and so slow, but then again, there's so much world building that you have to do when you do start one of these fantasy series, so I think that's what it was. But once I got through Fourth Wing, oh my gosh, Iron Flame and Onyx Storm were both 4 stars for me. Loved them. I really loved them. I think they were so good. It was very action-packed. There wasn't much romance in these books at all. And I'm so excited for book number 4. Rebecca Yarros just released the Threshing books where they all tell their stories. Each cadet tells their stories about the first day. And I think Zayden's point of view is on there as well. I think everyone was very excited about that. But I just want book 4. It was so good. I'm not going to go into the plot. Most of you have read Fourth Wing, I'm assuming. But yeah, those were some solid 4-star reads this year. The rest of the books in the Throne of Glass series, I did give a 4 stars to, apart from Tower of Dawn, which got a 3 stars. So those were some more 4-star reads this year. We need to move on because I'm spending too much time on that question. What was the biggest letdown? So the first book that got a 1 star from me, which was a very big letdown, was Twisted Lies, the 4th book in the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I couldn't stand it. I could not stand this book. So I see so many people talk about this book and they love it and they love the characters and they love that freaking Christian, I think that's his name. Let me just double check his name's Christian Harper. Gosh, I can't stand him. Firstly, he is the biggest narcissist ever. He has issues, bad issues. I know we're talking about a fictional character. I'm getting so passionate. I don't like how Anna romanticized a narcissist in this book. I really did not enjoy that because some of his issues and some of the scenes were so toxic. They were not romantic at all. I just didn't like his character. I didn't like his behavior. I just didn't like the love story. Wasn't a fan. Don't get me wrong, I loved the other books in the series. I'm gonna make a separate video about the Twisted series as a whole, but Twisted Lies, it just didn't do it. It wasn't it for me. Okay, moving on. One book that made me cry this year. I don't easily cry at books, guys. I don't consider myself to be an emotional person. But when I tell you this book left me in tears, can we guess what this book is? Yes, it's Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. The final scene in this book finished me. I was finished. I was crying on this sofa in a blanket, blowing my damn nose. 5 stars. This was a 5-star read. Other than the crying part, this was a 5-star read. Strong book. I'm so happy that I started this series. I'm currently reading Keeping 13, the 2nd book. Loved the characters. Shannon, Johnny, Gibbsy, loved them. Loved all the characters. I love how it's set in Ireland. It's really refreshing to read something that isn't an American love story. The slang in here makes me laugh so much because it makes me feel like I'm at home, even though it's in Ireland and I'm from the UK. The slang is quite similar to British slang. If you've read this book, you'll understand why I'm saying the final scene. I don't want to say it in case people haven't read it, but the final scene in this book, Shannon girl, it got me good. I am recommending this to everyone I know right now. I'm like begging my sister to read this book and drop everything else she's reading and read this book because that's how good it is. Loved it. I love you. Next question. Books that made me happy. Let's move on to something happier. Let's stop crying. I know I just spoke about this book, but this is one of the books that made me very happy this year. Loved this book. Crown of Midnight is when the story kind of kicks off, in my opinion. That big secret being revealed definitely made me very happy. I just loved that Aelin had a cute little romance / first love in this. A true identity being revealed as well. I just loved it. As much as it gave me chills and goosebumps, it made me very happy at the same time. Favourite couples this year, Rowan and Aelin is up there. Rowan and Aelin is definitely up there. Those were the first 2 that came into my head. When Rowan was first introduced in the Throne of Glass series, I was really under the impression that he was going to be some sort of father figure slash leader figure in Aylin's life. I did not expect them to fall in love. And I know that's very stupid and oblivious of me, but I just didn't expect the love story. The second couple is obviously Johnny and Shannon. Love them. I think they're so cute. I think they're perfectly matched. To finish off the video, I'm going to quick fire through the other books that I've read this year and tell you guys what I rated them. I read Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak and I gave that 3 stars. I got through that in 2 days apparently. That book scared the crap out of me. I read Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell and I gave this a 3 stars. I got through this in 7 days. I got through this in a week. I gave this 3 stars because I didn't like the plot twist again. I know that I keep saying that, but I just didn't like it. It was just silly, I think, and a bit twisted as well. I know that's what the whole point of a thriller book is. I didn't like the storyline, so got a 3 stars. I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager and that got a 3 stars. The ending was kind of forced in my opinion, the other plot twist. There was a few plot twists, but the ones towards the end, I felt the story was kind of forced and it didn't really make sense in my opinion, so that's why I gave it 3 stars. I read Caught Up, which is book number 2 in the Into Darkness series by Navessa Allen, and this got a 3 stars. I read Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza, and this got a 5 stars. The books that actually got me into reading were non-fiction slash self-help books. I read The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. This got a 3.5 stars. The Boyfriend by Frida McFadden, and that got a 5 stars. Loved that book. If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura, I think that's how you say it. This got a 3 stars. I heard really good things about this book. It got 3 stars just because I felt like it was very longed out. I don't like long chapters. I like it when there's a new chapter, a page, and then another new chapter. This was like 40-page chapters, which I just don't enjoy. I read Twilight, the first book in the Twilight series, and this got a 3 stars. I read Game On, which is the 3rd book in the Into Darkness series by Navessa Allen, got a 1 star. I did not like that book at all. I don't know how people like that book. I don't like blonde MMCs in general. Is that allowed? Am I allowed to say that? The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, that got 4 stars. Loved that book. This is my review of that book. Don't ask why I wrote that. It's true. It's literally true. Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinnerman, 5 stars. That was my first sci-fi read ever and I loved it. I'm so excited to continue the series. Tender is the Flesh, and that was a 4 stars. If you like reading horror slash gore, then Tender is the Flesh would be a good recommendation. I don't know why I picked that book up. I had no idea what the book was about. I just saw it and I was like, you know, this looks interesting. That book made me so uncomfortable. The whole way through that book, I was just on edge. It was not very pleasant. Absolutely disgusting. But it was a 4-star read, so. And those were my reads so far for 2026. I still have 22 books left this year to read to meet my goal of 50 books altogether. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Oh my god, that's the first time I'm saying it. Let me do it again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any book recommendations based on what I've read so far this year, I would love to see those. I'm so excited to read on for 2026. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!